This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hey everybody, it is the After Party Live. Ooh, let's turn that down. Ooh, yeah, that's loud. On a Hide in Your Cave Monday, welcome to the big show. The After Party Live is underway, and thank you everyone for your patience and for hanging out. I can see you all in the chat, and I thought today we were going to lead with the golden commode, but then I saw this story, and I thought, no, I got to leave with this story instead. I think this is a big deal, and it's not something new. It's just something now that we know about it. It's new. This has been going on for a really long time. This story comes out of San Francisco, and it is out of the Hunters Point area. This picture of the Hunters Point former naval yard there in San Francisco. And what we understand now is that airborne plutonium has been detected. This is something that public health officials in San Francisco say we don't need to take any immediate action to protect public safety, but airborne plutonium has been detected at the former Hunters Point Naval Shipyard. It was detected back in 2024, but we weren't told about it until now, apparently. It was detected in an air filter November of 2024. You know, the shipyard out at Hunters Point was used for 30 years as a repair yard for the U.S. Navy. All kinds of bad stuff out there. We knew it was polluted, but to have it airborne, I think is more concerning. So the public health officer for San Francisco talked to SF Gate, saying she met with U.S. Navy officials last week to talk about the possible public health concerns. And during that meeting, the Navy officials confirmed dust control measures and air and dust monitoring are ongoing. They say they're reviewing their dust control methods to ensure they're fully protective of public health. And no immediate action is required from a public safety health standpoint. The San Francisco Department of Public Health is now said to be closely monitoring this situation. They're requesting all kinds of data be sent from the Navy regarding all of this. The Navy is assuring that they will give San Francisco additional data for independent verification. But is anybody concerned that for almost a year there was plutonium detected in the air around Hunters Point and the Navy didn't tell San Francisco? I mean, what? Yeah. In recent decades, part of the naval shipyard has been converted to residential housing and artist workspaces. Even though we know this is a contaminated area, parts of this area, including Parcel C, where the plutonium was detected, have been closed to the public. They're still in the process of being cleaned up. Something we should all know about, I think. It's nuts, the pollution they left behind and that it continues to still affect San Francisco. Then you have the lack of communication, huge concern. Here's your golden potty. It's solid gold too. It's not just gold plated. This is a solid gold throne. Why? The question is why? Would you make this or do this? Well, it's considered a piece of art, but it is fully functioning as well. So, you could sit down and do your business here on the golden throne. This fully functioning toilet made from solid gold is going up for auction. The thinking is it could sell for more than $10 million. It's an 18-karat gold potty. It weighs 220 pounds. And if you remember, we talked about a solid gold toilet that was stolen. There was another version of this toilet that was stolen in 2019 in a burglary. But this one made by Italian artist Maurizio Catalan, is going up for auction. It's a artist known for satirical, provocative works, right? I think he's the guy who also taped a banana to a wall and sold it to a crypto bro for more than $6 million. This golden toilet is called America. If that isn't poetic. I know this is not a political show, so I'll just leave it there. America could sell. The bidding starts at 10 million, so we'll see how much America sells for. The exact number determined by the price of gold on the day of auction, and the house expects the final price to exceed that figure. This is Sotheby's who is selling the golden potty. Catalan says he created this piece because he wanted to put an expensive artwork in an unexpected part of the museum. In the end, he says, we are all the same. He says, we remember it right there in the least noble and the most necessary place. The fully functioning golden toilet, 18 karat, satirizes wealth and interrogates what we consider sacred. It was constructed in 2016. It was sold to a private collector the following year. And again, the other version of this toilet from the same series, also called America and made of pure gold, was put in 2016 at the Guggenheim Museum in New York. It attracted more than 100,000 visitors who lined up to use it. Critics compared it to another work that you do your business in from Marcel Duchamp. It was the porcelain urinal called Fountain, created in 1917. It's participatory in nature, in which viewers are invited to make use of the fixture individually and privately. It allows for an experience of unprecedented intimacy with a work of art, according to the museum. Yeah. In 2019, it was loaned to England's Blenheim Palace. Days after its installation, this is the other version of it, thieves broke into the building and stole the toilet. 2 men found guilty of burglary earlier this year, but that golden toilet is still missing. They think it was likely melted down and sold off. So this is the remaining golden toilet going up for auction, likely worth more than $10 million. I don't know. I get that it's art, but also, can't you see somebody we all know buying this for the new bathroom in the Golden Ballroom? Enough said. We shall move on to this pool snake. This is not what you want to find in your swimming pool. You know, you go to the swimming pool because you want to avoid all the craziness in the ocean, right? You don't want to get bitten by anything, step on anything, get nabbed by a jellyfish. In Australia, you got to check the pool before you get in. This is a yellow-tailed whip snake, and it found its way into someone's swimming pool in their backyard in Australia. They had to call the Sunshine Coast snake catchers to come and get this venomous, highly venomous snake out of the swimming pool. I mean, you might not really notice this at first before you hop into the pool. Residents were concerned that it was a brown snake, but it was identified as a yellow-faced whip snake. This is unlike the brown snake, a mildly venomous species, often confused for eastern browns. The snake wrangler got this snake out of the water with his bare hands and then returned it to the wild. I'm telling you, these people are incredible. So, yeah, the snake is now back in the wild, and the homeowner is now likely going to double check the pool before ever getting in again. There is a video now, and we knew this was happening, but now we have proof of orcas in the wild feasting on great white shark liver. And you can see, this is the video. where you can see the orcas and they are attacking this great white shark down below. This pod of orcas has twice been observed flipping young great white sharks on their backsides to stun them, and then they slice their sides open and they eat their liver. Now we've got it on video. Videos taken by scientists in Mexico show how these orca hunts in the Gulf of California, one in 2020, one in 2022, include pods attacking young great whites by, again, flipping them on their backsides, stunning them, and slicing their sides open to extract their livers. The team researching this published their findings in video studies in the journal Frontiers in Marine Science on Monday. So in one of these videos, you see all members of this orca pod sharing the pink liver fat while the rest of the shark's body sinks down into the ocean. And then during the hunt, there's a sea lion trying to sneak away with a part of the shark as a free meal, but then the orcas blow bubbles to deter the sea lion from getting involved in that. You can see their bubble blowing right there. The marine biologist and documentarian who filmed this hunt from a nearby boat says they didn't understand the significance of it until they went back and tried to edit the footage and looked at it. The monitor, apparently, you can see on a bigger screen that the shark has a liver hanging out of the side of it. The shark has a liver hanging out of its side, already popped off, and then a few minutes later, the orcas come up with a liver in their mouth. So they said we're conditioned to think of great whites as the top of the food chain, and it's always amazing to be reminded that they're actually prey as well. The hunt appears to be the work of the same group of orcas. They've named it the Montezuma pod. It frequents the waters off of Baja, California, and they only hunt sharks and whales, this pod. They've been followed by researchers for more than a decade, their behavior filmed, and they are observing how these whales adapt their behavior to whatever species they're targeting. Before this, we only had evidence that orcas hunt great whites in South Africa. They've been preying on the sharks there for years and eating their livers as well. And then they leave the shark carcass to wash up on the beach. The behavior in Mexico, similar but not identical. The orcas in Mexico have been preying upon young sharks, whereas those in South Africa primarily targeted the grown sharks, the adults. But the orca groups likely learned their behavior independently. Researchers say seeing this behavior in Mexico suggests that specific orca groups have developed their own strategies for hunting sharks. The same organ is targeted, interestingly, but the handling technique differs slightly from the South African group, which points to group-specific learning. Fascinating that they do this. What is it about that liver that makes it so appealing? When they flip the shark upside down, it forces the shark to get into a state called tonic immobility. They freeze. They say it's like a catatonic state, and they just don't do anything. As for why the liver, it's fatty, it's nutritious, and it takes up about 1/4 of the shark's body. It provides a lot of energy. So, one thing the researchers can agree on is that the behavior is likely not new for orcas, it's just new to scientists who are finally witnessing this and documenting it because of improvements in technology like drone technology footage. It's probably, they say, been going on for centuries, but it just hasn't been easy to observe something like this until now. So with new technology, we get this new information. Yeah. And there they are, chowing down on the shark liver. Beautiful animals. Also, deadly animals. Oh. And then we come to Frank. Frank the emu has been captured after 2 days on the loose in Arizona. Oh, Frank. Frank. They've got video, which I will show you now, of Frank being captured. And here it is. I have it. It's Instagram video, so bear with me as I bring it up. Here it is. Someone mistook Frank for a giraffe, a baby giraffe. And here are the officers getting Frank captured. Yeah. Frank can run, and other emus as well, apparently can run really fast as 30 miles an hour. They say Frank was really moving through Arizona. He was captured here in Cottonwood. The Cottonwood Police Department say that he was running through streets and in traffic. The dispatch started getting calls that there was an emu walking through the Walmart parking lot and trying to attack people. One caller mistook the bird for a baby giraffe. He said the police said it took some time to chase this speedy animal down because they can run 30 miles an hour. The police said, I guess he had on the afterburners that day. But again, finally caught thanks to his pursuers learning an unusual tidbit of animal trivia. What did they learn? They learned that emus can't walk backwards. And so they used that. They were able to corner the emu next to a fence and take it into custody. They say Frank is now doing very well. He's back on his property. Yeah, Frank is back where he belongs. Oh, Frank. Frank the emu. I have another story for you. And this one comes to us from Teacher Lori. Look at that. You see that little thing on that lady's finger? That is a teeny tiny little robot. It was developed for one purpose, but scientists then thought, well, if we could make this smaller, we could use it for this other purpose. This story, again, furnished by Teacher Lori, huge thank you for the emails, is out of Palo Alto Online. So this is a Stanford story. This Stanford mechanical engineer named Renee Zhao is developing this device to treat diseases, and it's hoped that this teeny tiny little robot will be able to travel through your vascular system and shrink blood clots in the brain. This could be, if she manages to make this work, they can treat aneurysms, all kinds of things. She said, in my lab, curiosity drives discovery. We're using fundamental mechanics principles to drive the development of novel devices for treating medical conditions like kidney stones and stroke. And we're also developing soft robotics that can be applied to surgical robots. She said the work isn't always driven by a specific goal or target. It begins with exploring intriguing concepts and ideas. And along the way, she said, we discover how these ideas can address unmet clinical needs. So here's what she said. We developed an origami robot initially designed as a swimmer propelled by its spinning motion for propulsion. An idea, she said, rooted in basic physics and mechanics, so that physics and mechanics drive the design. And it was bigger. Later, she said, we thought maybe we could miniaturize this design to navigate much smaller and confined spaces like blood vessels. And that insight led them to develop this tiny 1 millimeter device that can travel through the vascular systems and treat conditions like blood clots and brain aneurysms. When they scale it up, that same robot could be harnessed to propel much larger systems like underwater vehicles. So she said, in our work, we're not solving one specific problem. We're exploring mechanics and physics concepts with the potential to push boundaries across multiple fields. Mechanics, she said, is a tool that can be applied to every single field. And what's unique about academia is that you're given both the resources and freedom to explore. And that is what drives innovation and creativity. Students in my lab, she said, Ms. Zhao, are very open to exploring different things. And as long as we can see the fundamental insights in an idea, we will explore it. Regardless of the immediate application, fundamental research is where the true innovation begins, not just incremental improvements. I'm fascinated, and very disappointed that funding for research like this is getting cut because of what we won't talk about. Because what an amazing innovation. And if they can make that work, that would be incredible. Again, thanks to Teacher Lori for that really cool story. I really appreciate it. I have another video to show you. This one kind of, hard to watch when you realize that someone is getting hurt here. This is a story about a medieval tower that just started crumbling. It was under renovation. There were workers there doing some things, and all of a sudden, this tower just starts to fall apart. Here's the video. Yeah, doesn't look good. This happened at, again, oops, my apologies. I just ditched my entire list of stories. This, again, happened at a medieval tower. We know that at least one worker was injured in this and was trapped. So there were rescue efforts underway trying to get to this worker. The condition of this person at this point is unknown, but the rescue effort went on for quite some time. It happened in Rome. The worker was trapped beneath the rubble after this medieval tower partially collapsed while it was being renovated. Scary. The structure continued to give way even as firefighters went in and started the rescue. They tried to get near the trapped worker through a first floor window, but they had to back out and retreat because their ladders were covered in these clouds of smoke. Another approach on 2 ladders was also aborted, and they sent a drone up instead. As dusk approached, the firefighters lifted on a crane, used giant tubes to suck the rubble out of the second floor window. 3 workers were rescued from this unharmed after this initial midday collapse. A spokesperson for the firefighters said another worker, aged 64, was hospitalized in critical condition. No firefighters were hurt during all of this. There were signs of life, they say, from the trapped worker. They managed to give him some protective cover during an earlier rescue event, but the whole thing was very complicated. They said it was a very long operation, and during the whole thing, and I'll mute it as I play you more of the video, there were hundreds of tourists below watching what was happening. There were people nearby saying they just heard loud sounds coming from this area and watching the structure partially collapse. They said, some visitors saying that we were near the Colosseum walking to get some food, and then they said it's probably not long until it's going to go down, and it just started erupting. This medieval tower is Torre dei Conti, and it was built in the 13th century by Pope Innocent III as a residence for his family. They say the tower was damaged. Oops, that's the wrong video. The tower was damaged. Go back to that. In an earthquake in 1349, and it suffered a subsequent collapse in the 17th century as well. The firefighters, they say, risked their lives with the second collapse, and they're still worried about the worker who was injured there. So that's what happened in Rome with this collapse of this medieval tower. To the lotto of the day, we'll lighten it up just a little bit. This is a story about a man who forgot his lottery ticket. Yeah. So what do when you forget your lottery ticket? Well, you just buy another one. Forgot one winning lottery ticket at home, bought another one. This man had won $50. and he forgot his winning lottery ticket at home when he went to cash it in. So he bought another of the same scratch off game, and this time, instead of winning $50, he won $500,000. Lucky ducky. This man from Roseville, Ohio, said he went to the South 60 market intending to cash in his $50 winning ticket, but he arrived and realized he left that ticket at home. So he went into the store anyway, bought another ticket from the same game, scratched it off in his car, and it's a $500,000 winner. He's going to use these winnings to pay off his house, to buy a new car, and cut back his work days so he can spend more time with his family. All of that. Yes to all of that. That sounds great. I'm in. I have another story with video for you. This is a world record. This man has used a cone to catch an ice cream scoop, and he set a new record in the distance that he managed to do this from. Is the video. 55 feet 5 inches. And here it is. Now, it took a lot of attempts to get this done. But eventually, he gets the catch. I give the catching guy as much credit as the guy who threw the cone, threw the ice cream. You got to throw that pretty far. 55 feet 5 inches. Yeah. There it is. Oh, 55 feet 4 inches. My bad. They actually said 5 inches, but that's all right. That's pretty good. That's pretty long ways to catch your ice cream. 55 feet 5 inches becomes the new record for this man in Idaho who has more than 300 Guinness World Record titles to his name. His name is David Rush, and he teamed up with a YouTuber, Josh Van Battenberg, to take this title for the farthest ice cream throw and catch for a team of 2. They did it in Simi Valley. The catch measured from the front of Josh's front foot to the front of David's foot when the ice cream landed in the cone, and then it stayed there. So, congratulations. Very exciting news. Another world record set. I have this before we get to our caves, Hide in Your Cave Monday. I have this story about something that happened in Oakland. Distressing, as a matter of fact. There was a burglary in Oakland of a storage facility used by the California Museum. Somebody had to know what was in there, right? Thieves stole more than 1,000 artifacts from the museum's storage facility at the Oakland Museum of California. It happened early morning, October 15th. And again, more than 1,000 items. So frustrating and disheartening. It's an off-site storage facility owned by the Oakland Museum of California. And the things that were stolen from here range from ivory carvings to Native American baskets. Now the FBI's art crime team is working to help track down the thieves and hopefully recover some of these items as well. The executive director of the Oakland Museum of California said, "This is a brazen act that robs the public of our state's cultural heritage. Most of these objects have been given to the museum by generous donors." So the museum is working with the FBI and other authorities now to see that these objects are returned. Among the stolen things, laptops, neck pieces by late American metalsmith Florence Resnikoff, a pair of scrimshaw walrus tusks, campaign pins, athletic awards. Very possible, they say, the people who stole these items don't really know themselves what they have and why these things might be important. Staff members were not on site when the burglary took place, but there are security cameras and alarms on this facility. Police say they waited 2 weeks to announce the burglary in a strategic decision to avoid jeopardizing their investigation. The police say that Now this is the moment to share the news with the public. So they're hopeful some of the information that they are sharing could lead to some type of recovery of these items. They're still working to now explore additional security measures at this facility and with insurance providers to calculate the value of all these things that were stolen here. Most of the stolen items were small, so this may have been a crime of opportunity rather than a planned strike. The thieves found a way to enter the building, grab what they could easily find, and snatch and get out of the building with. Others are less certain. There's a retired Los Angeles police captain who tells the LA Times that if the thieves managed to get in and out without setting off alarms, they might have had some inside knowledge. They targeted an off-site storage facility, and that is also suspicious. If it's a nondescript all brick building, that's very difficult for anybody to figure out what it is from the outside. It's almost always an employee, a former employee, a contractor, a vendor who sees it, talks about it, and gets approached to bring something out. That's according to that retired LA cop. And that's kind of what it feels like to me, too. I mean, how would you know to go in and take these items? That has to be more than luck, right? Yeah. The LA cop, retired LA cop, is also very skeptical that this stuff is going to be recovered. Thieves, he said, typically sell or melt down stolen goods as soon as possible. These people are interested in fast cash, not the full appraised value. They need to get rid of it quickly. This museum, the Oakland Museum of California, has been hit twice before by thieves in 2012 and 2013. And investigators later determined the same person was responsible for both burglaries. In 2014, Andre Terre Franklin was sentenced to 4 years in prison. But it comes right after that robbery at the Louvre, burglary at the Louvre, right? Where they stole French crown jewels worth about $102 million. So far, 7 suspects arrested in that case. But they haven't said whether they recovered any of the stolen jewelry there. Nope. All right. It is time for Hide in Your Cave Monday. Get in there. Let's go in together. Today we're going to Africa. The first stop on our list of caves is the Kango Caves of South Africa. They have dramatic rock formations, fossilized life forms dating back millions of years, and an ancient cave painting that tells the stories of early human life. These Kango Caves in South Africa are among the most fascinating in the world, whether you're walking through the vast limestone chambers or crawling through the tight tunnels. The Kango Caves are the most famous cave system in South Africa. They are one of the longest in the world, with more than 5.3 kilometers of chambers and tunnels. They're on the Western Cape. The caves known for their dramatic dripstone formations, ancient stalactites, and cathedral-like chambers. They offer 2-hour guided tours of them. You can also combine your tour with a scenic rail travel that'll take you right to the Kango Caves. They have this big tour where you get on the South African rail. You travel through the most iconic landscapes. You go through the grandeur of the Kango Caves. I think you have to get off the train for that. But it includes a look at Africa's culture, wildlife, and natural beauty. And you get to walk through these caves, these ancient chambers that are illuminated to reveal their scale and their detail. The next one is called the Bathongo Cave. Bathongo Wonder Cave, called a hidden gem right beneath the surface. I don't know if we've been here before, but if we have, I think it's still worth checking out. Here's the Bathongo Cave. It looks really tall to me. Yeah. Bathongo Wonder Cave, discovered by Italian miners in the late 1800s. The Bathongo Wonder Cave is more than 5 million years old. It is located within the Cradle of Humankind UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is the third largest cave in South Africa. They call it a treasure trove of ancient beauty. You go 87 steps or take the elevator down into a world of glittering stalactites, cave pearls, shimmering rimstone pools. The natural rock sculptures inside the cave have been forming for millennia, creating an atmosphere that feels both mystical and serene. Really, really cool. Then there's the Sudwala Caves. The Sudwala Caves are one of the oldest cave systems on Earth, also located in the area of, let's see, uh, South Africa. The Sudwala Caves formed 240 million years ago. They say some of the oldest life forms have been found in its limestone walls encased for all eternity. It's really, really big too. Vast chambers like the 70-meter wide amphitheater. There's stalactites and formations like Samson's Pillar and the Rocket. Really, really beautiful. I have a picture of the Sudwala Caves as well. And you can see there's also water in the Sudwala Caves. I don't know why it reminds me of the drink, Odwalla. This is Sudwala. But really, really beautiful. Here's a look at it. Here's a little look-see at the Sudwala Cave. It's beautiful. Yeah. The combination of geological wonder and ancient life makes Sudwala one of the most awe-inspiring caves in South Africa. And it is, again, one of the oldest cave systems on Earth. And then we have the Pinnacle Point Caves in also South Africa. This is right on the coast, overlooking the ocean in Mosel Bay. They say these caves are good for more than just some sea views, that they are full of rich history. Here's a look from the outside. The Pinnacle Point Caves are one of the most important archaeological sites in the world. Declared a provincial heritage site, the system of sea caves contains evidence of early Homo sapiens dating back more than 160,000 years. They have guided tours here where you can look at the tools, the bones, the hearths inside the caves, how early humans lived, and how they adapted to the coastal environments as well. So, very significant place to see. There's a cave called the Wayne Whiskrans Cave, which also is right on the ocean with spectacular views. Pretty amazing. At the Wayne Whiskra Cave, which is only accessible at low tide, it's, they say, one of the most visually striking sea caves in South Africa. It's a short but scenic walk over coastal rocks before you slip through a narrow opening. And inside is a vast echoing chamber carved by waves with views of the sea framed perfectly by the cave mouth. One of, they say, the best sightseeing places in South Africa for photographers and nature lovers alike. It's beautiful. And here's a picture of it from the inside. Got to make sure when you go in here that you're going at the right time of day, because you don't want to get stuck by the waves that would come crashing in. But what an incredible view. Take a look at this. Wow. Apologies for the watermark on that picture, but that's incredible. There's also another cave called the Blombos Cave. The Blombos Cave is closed for research right now, but it's also said to be really significant in nature as well. It is closed for research, but it has really great archaeological importance. It's along the southern Cape Coast, the site of the earliest known human made drawings, etched ochre fragments dating back 73,000 years. And again, the Blombos is not open for tours, but they say it still brings an understanding of early human development. It's said to be very, very important. So here's, again, along the coast as well, what the cave looks like. And they found some really interesting things inside of it. Here's a look at the Blombos Cave. It's cool to see it because you can't get into it, right? So even to have this look from the inside of the cave is pretty cool. That's the Blombos Cave. Where they have found, I'll show you one of the things they found inside. I guess this is among the earliest art on Earth. These etchings, if you can call this art, I mean, I would say it's clear someone was trying to carve something, create something. You know, the things they find inside. And that is Hide in Your Cave Monday, South African style. Thank you for being part of it. I appreciate it. I do want to thank the folks that are contributing to this show. I got some great emails. I got a good waterfall email. We'll go to waterfalls in Alaska this week, I think. Some of them we may have seen before, but spectacular new pictures. So thank you. And thank you for the messages from Teacher Lori and Julie. Really appreciate all your messages and sending all the stories. Also want to thank anyone and everyone who has contributed to the After Party Live financially, keeps this show rolling. You guys are amazing and awesome. And I love that we're all here working to do this together. So huge thank you to Wes, who comes in today with $5. Rhonda has a recurring PayPal payment set up, as well as Gretchen and Linda G. Wes kicked in on Halloween as well. So you guys, thank you very much for that. As always, the PayPal information is in the show description. And if you have any questions about anything you've seen on the show, you can always message me. And whether that's questions or new ideas or whatever it is, Kim@theafterparty.live is where you can find me. And I always love to hear from everyone. All right. I hope you make it the very best Monday that you can. And I will see you right back here tomorrow, 11 a.m. on the Mark Thompson Show, David K. Johnston Day, which is always a good one. Jefferson Graham returns to the show as well. And yeah, look at that. Gold potty from the from the Trump. Thank you as well. Love to see your comments. I have to go back now because I was kind of into all the stories and I didn't get a chance to read everything. I'm glad you could hide in the caves too, Jim. I appreciate you being here. All right, everybody. Until we meet again tomorrow, make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here on the old YouTube. Bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.